What's up, guys? It's Emily. Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a girl talk for you guys about basically taking care of your female hygienes down there. So if you are not comfortable watching this video or me discussing this type of TMI girl talk, you could just click out. But I do like to do things about the body, ways you should take care of your female hygienes down there. So I have a list right next to me that I had wrote down that I do for my female hygienes, that I want to give you guys my tips and thoughts, and like products I use, things like that. So I honestly personally like watching these type of videos because it's interesting to see what other girls use and just, you know, if you want to try something new. So without further ado, leave a like, a comment, and let me know down below what you guys think of this video, and let's get this started. Okay, so today's girl talk, like I said, guys, we are going to be talking about the female hygiene of taking care of down there specifically. I personally been wanting to do this video for a long time, and I just want to show you guys the products I use. I have a couple products next to me, so I will be showing you guys those, but I also have a list of my tips and thoughts about taking care of your hygienes, especially to keep clean in the hoo-ha area. So I hope you guys enjoy this. So let's get this. Okay, so I have my tips down on my phone. I had took a picture of the ones I've written. So the first tip, if you guys see me looking down a lot, it's because I have it on my phone. So the first tip that I'm definitely going to give you guys is wipe front to back when you are using the bathroom. Honestly, I can't stress this enough because a lot of people, like, girls are too scared to ask their moms or their sisters of how to wipe proper. And honestly, like, wiping front to back is so important, not back to front. So, like, from that area to the front area, that could cause an infection because you're bringing bacteria from the back to the front, when if you wipe just the front, you're good, you know? So that's my first tip, is always wipe front to back. I honestly can't stress that enough because it could cause so much issues, like with UTIs, yeast infections, things like that, and you don't want to go through that. It's very painful. So that's my number one tip. My second tip is use unscented soap. I can't stress this enough, only because I've been a female that has used fragrance soap for so long, especially in that area. I like started doing my own research of how to, like, what's better soap is to use for that area. And I noticed a lot of people use unscented soap. And even my OBGYN suggested unscented soap is better soap to use in that area, just because fragrance soaps could irritate that area and like your pH balance and things like that. So I've been using unscented soap for the last like 8 years, 9 years. But I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you guys. Like, I honestly, for so long, I've used fragrance soap down there, and I never knew that it could mess with your pH balance. But because you always think like, oh, it has a fragrance in it, so I'm gonna smell better. And honestly, every female has a scent down there. So unless it's like a specific smell that doesn't smell normal, then it should be concerning. But every female has a smell down there, and that's why, like, fragrance, like, you think you're gonna smell better when you don't. It just kind of messes with your pH balance and things like that. So I want to show you guys, because I do have the soap that I use. And I noticed that a lot of females use the soap, but my OBGYN was the one that suggested this. So I use Dove unscented soap. It's for sensitive skin also. I do suffer really badly with sensitive skin. So I use bar soap, and then I also have like an exfoliator mitten. So I exfoliate down there when I'm cleaning myself. So Dove unscented soap, it's a little expensive, but it's worth it because You don't want your pH balance going out of whack. Honestly, you do not want that, because it, like fragrance, after a while you'll start noticing you're irritated, things like that. So this soap is really, really works really, really well for that area, you know, for your hoo-ha area. So unscented soap is definitely a must when you're cleaning yourself down there. So my next tip, you know, it's a good investment, especially it's a one, like that part of your body is the most important for a woman's. So, you know, the best thing to do is make sure you take care of it. Okay, the next thing, my tip is Cranberry Pills are your best friend. And why I say it's your best friend, honestly, guys, people don't really tell you usually there's products out there to take care of, like probiotics, cranberry pills, cranberry juice, things like that. These are things that help keep your urinary tract intact. And why I say that is I've been using Azo. Now I have my product here because I buy it once I run out, but I usually use it for, I buy a big pack so that way I have it for the next several months. So Azo is going to be your best friend. It's a cranberry urinary tract health, and it has 1 serving, 1 glass of cranberry juice, and with probiotic and vitamin C. Now you could get this at your local CVS, local Walgreens, local Rite Aid, wherever. You could get this at Walmart, Target, anywhere. This is going to be your best friend. And the only reason why I say that is Azo is really good for your urinary health. And generally how I usually take cranberry pills is I usually take it once a month or every 2 weeks, depending on how I feel. But typically on the box, it says to you could I like to do it once a month, but it does say you could take it daily. So typically I either do it once a month or every 2 weeks, just because it's really good for your urinary tract. Cranberry juice is a really, really good thing for your urinary tract, and the probiotics and vitamin C is super good for your urinary health. So cranberry pills are going to be your best friend to keep your urinary intact, and keep your vagina healthy. You know, you want to use products that will keep you from getting infections, to keep, believe it or not, guys, when we pee or things like that, you don't realize like certain things you do could affect you and get you an infection or things like that. So these things are really good to have and take. Even like if you want to take vitamins, I'm sure there's vitamins out there. I actually been looking into vitamins and trying to find the best types of vitamins for that type of female hygiene health. So, but this has been one of my favorite products that I invest my money in. So that's one thing I'm going to suggest is Cranberry Pills is going to be your best friend. Okay, my next tip is make sure to pee after sexy time. Now, honestly, if you know what I mean, I don't know, a lot of girls that are like if you're sexually active between the ages of 16, 15, 14, whatever the case is, because I know there's a lot of people that are sexually active at those ages now, but also from like 14 to any age, basically, when you're sexually active with your partner, whether it's a female, male, whoever the person you are having sex with, make sure to always pee after sex, because you also want to make sure the person you are either hooking up with or the person that you're dating or whatever the case is, you want to make sure that person is hygienically clean on their end. Make sure their hands are clean, make sure their area is clean, things like that, because people could have stuff under their fingernails, and let's just say like you just went out to eat with this person, and then they start touching up on you with some like hot sauce, leftover dried up hot sauce on their hand. That could cause right there an infection. But the reason why I suggest to pee after sex is because it's so important. You know, even if you feel like you don't have to pee, even if it's like a couple drops, make sure you just pee, because it can cause an infection where it's not cleaning out the bacteria that, you know, if the person wasn't like, not that every person's going to be like fully clean, but you know, everybody has sweat, things like that. So it's super important to pee after sex when you are intimate with somebody. That is my number one thing also, is just do that, because it's super important. Okay, the next tip I got for you guys is make sure you get annual OBGYN appointments. Now, I cannot stress this enough, guys. It is so important. Like, all the tips I'm giving you guys, but this is my number one tip that is super important, is make sure you get annual OBGYN appointment. So this is basically when they do a full exam. They check your cervix, check the inside of your lips. They check everything. They do pap smears, things like that. Now, it's so important to get an annual OBGYN appointment, because you want to make sure that there's no issues going on down there that you're not aware of. So what I mean by that is, God forbid you wait a couple years to go to the OBGYN and there's some sort of like thing going on, like an undiagnosed thing that's going on. It is so important to make sure to take care of that issue, because sometimes that issue, all these symptoms that you've been questioning with your periods or with your breasts, things like that, it's important to go to the OBGYN because they could answer all the questions. Me personally, I like to go to female OBGYNs. Everybody has their own preference, but I personally like to go to a female just because a female has the same parts of my body. So, not exactly it looks the same, but they could definitely help and understand and make you feel a little more comfortable because they have what we have. So, basically, it's super important to go get your annual exam, you know, because sometimes you might not even know that you might have like a UTI, like UTI symptoms. The first time I ever got a UTI, I did not even know I had a UTI. And I went to the OBGYN and they're like, yep, you have a UTI. And it's honestly, like, it could be like the minorest symptom and you'll never know. As much as you take care of yourself, it just happens sometimes. So it's super important to just get an annual exam yearly with your OBGYN. Whether you feel like it's not important, it is super important. That's my one tip that I'm going to say that, like, I could highlight that says that I'm saying that is super important to do, because you do not want issues down the road and then, you know, it could have been prevented, if that makes sense. Okay. My next tip is it's normal to have natural smell. So what I mean by that, it's normal to have a natural scent down there. Everybody has a certain scent down there, and it's not going to smell like flowers and dandelions. I know a lot of like the social media industry, whether it's music, things like that, they kind of, how do I say it? They kind of give you like messages that are not true, like you're supposed to smell this way and that way, when in general you just have a natural smell. The only thing I'm gonna say is if you have like an odor where it smells like fishy, or if it smells like just it just has like, it's like you get a whiff of it, you know, it's definitely a sign that you should go to the doctor and make sure you do not have a yeast infection, UTI, or it could just be something going on. You know, you do not want to have a smell down there because it could mess with your pH balance, things like that. But if you do have a natural smell down there, it is normal, guys. You are not going to smell like flowers and dandelions. And the reason why I said earlier is unscented soap. Yes, it doesn't have scent in it or fragrance, but that is good also because it does not mess with your pH balance. It does not mess with, you know, the smell down there. Sometimes people don't realize when you add fragrance, you think you're going to smell like flowers and dandelions. No, You're not. Everybody just has a natural smell down there. And everybody's smell is different. So at the end of the day, you know, you can't give misinformation for people, because a lot of girls younger than us, you know, there's females that are just going through puberty and they think they have to smell a certain way or things like that. No, everybody has a natural smell as long as it's not fishy or anything like that. So, okay. My next one is talk to close girlfriends. Make it normal. Now, why I say is talk to your girlfriends. Your closest best friends, if you feel like you could trust them, your girlfriends, even like certain girl family members, if you feel comfortable, like a close cousin, a close sister, things like that. Make it normal to have these conversations, whether it's about your period, whether it's about a smell that you discovered about yourself, whether it's about your breast, whether it's about discharge, whether it's about anything. Make it normal to have a person that you feel so comfortable to talk to. Now, I'm trying to think. I have like 3 or 4 girl best friends that I go to, like, we literally could have a normal conversation and make it so normal and not uncomfortable. So these people that you should talk to about these things, you could help them, you know, give them your advice, things like that. Even whether it's like a product you use and you just want, like, you guys are talking about a specific product and you guys suggest it to each other. You know, it's good to have females that you could talk to. It shouldn't be like an awkward, uncomfortable conversation to have, because we all go through the same thing. We all go through a period. We all go through discharge. We all go through yeast infections, UTIs, things like that. We all go through it, and it's normal, and it should be more normalized, but a lot of girls are not comfortable talking about it. But find those females that you could talk about it with. Even if you want to message me, I love talking about female hygienes. Honestly, it's super important. So that's my next tip. So my next tip, it's normal to have discharge. Now, I remember when I was younger, I was like, what is this? And I never asked what it was until, like, I figured out as I got older. I was like, oh, don't freak out when you see discharge. I know it's like questionable, but the one thing I could say is wear panty liners, especially if, you know, even if it happens when you don't have panty liners on. It's normal, guys. You cannot stop discharge. It's basically your vagina cleaning itself. And, you know, discharge is actually really super important, believe it or not. So, you know, don't freak out when you see discharge. But the one thing I could suggest is, if you feel uncomfortable when that happens, is buy panty liners. And the other thing I want to say is, especially with discharge, is to wear cotton underwear most of the time. Don't wear like silk or like thongs or things like that, because it could cause a lot of irritation to, you know, your vagina area, and you don't want to be irritated. And, you know, with discharge, with cotton panties, it's a little more thicker of panties, but it's definitely better. I have panty liners, so I usually don't really know when it happens, so it's kind of just like random for me. It always happens like either 14 days before your period or something like that. But usually I think that's for me. It's usually 14 days, which is a good thing when you have discharge. So yes, discharge is super important because it does clean your system out. Okay, so my next tip is make sure to always change your pad every 2 to 3 hours. Now, I cannot stress this enough, guys, is when you're on your period, whether you use tampons, pads, an organic type of pad or tampon, whatever you use for your period, it is super, super, super important to change your pad, tampon every 2-3 hours. Why I say it's super important to change your pad every 2 to 3 hours is because you do not want bacteria growing in that, you know, on the pad from just having it sit there for hours on end without changing it, which could cause, like I said, a UTI or a yeast infection. Changing your pad in general is super important also, because after a while your vagina could get very irritated and cause a rash from the cotton and things like that, and it could start causing like a really funky smell, and you do not want that. So my suggestion is change your pads every 2 to 3 hours. I always change my pad every 2 to 3 hours. That's what I usually do. Even if it's not a lot of blood, I just personally feel like it's super important to change it every 2 to 3 hours. So I wanted to tell you guys that I do use pads. This is a brand new pack. I have like 3 packs, but I use pads. Typically I don't like the wing, but I do use pads. And honestly, I used to use tampons in school when I had gym, but honestly, like, I did a lot of my research of how bad tampons is, and honestly, it used to irritate me so much that I do not like it. I have really sensitive skin, especially, I'm very sensitive down there. So personally, I usually like to use pads because it doesn't irritate me as much, but tampons, I just personally, it's not my preference, but I know some females prefer it more than pads, which is understandable, but I personally prefer pads. So, like I said, guys, it's super important to change your pad every 2 to 3 hours. Okay. My last tip is shave in the direction your hair and then exfoliate. Now, why I say is shave the hair, your hair growth in the direction that your hair grows. Honestly, guys, when you don't shave, it could cause razor burn down there, and it hurts so bad. Make sure you know the way your hair grows in general, because certain parts of your body, your hair could grow like another way, from your legs to your arms to your, wherever you grow hair. But make sure you shave in the direction. And I want to put this as my last tip, is because I want it to be normalized that it's okay to have hair down there. It is not a crime. It's a natural thing to have hair. We have hair on our heads. We grow hair on our armpits. We grow hair on our bellies. We grow hair on our arms. We grow hair. Some females grow hair on their butt, their back, their legs, things like that. It is normal, guys. It is so normal to have hair. And I cannot stress that enough, because I know a lot of girls feel like that they need to shave when they're about to have an intimate intercourse with somebody. Honestly, guys, it is super normal to have hair. If you want to have a little hair on you, fine. If you don't want to have hair on you, fine. If you want to have hair on you, it's fine. And if the person does not respect how you prefer it, that person you shouldn't be having an intimate moment with them. Because if they can't respect you having hair and things like that, that's just pure disrespectful. Because men also grow hair, us females don't say anything or make it a big deal but I feel like social media and I feel like a lot of social media has influence where they try to not normalize hair, of having body hair. And honestly, it is so freaking normal to have body hair. So yeah, I just want to put that tip to shave in the direction, if you prefer to shave in the direction of the way your hair grows, because it'll cause like razor bumps, it'll cause irritation. And make sure you to exfoliate, whether it's an unscented soap or exfoliating scrub. It is super important to exfoliate so it doesn't get irritated and things like that, and your kitty is nice and soft. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've been wanting to talk about the female hygienes in a minute. I did one back when I was like 16, 17. So we're just going to make a new one, because I've learned a lot since I was 16, 17. And now I'm gonna be 24. And we're gonna make an updated female hygiene video. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Leave a like, a comment, and let me know down below what you guys think. And let me know if you guys want me to do more videos like this, whether it's about shaving, body image, things like that. I love talking about stuff for the female body. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.